Book 16, Father and Son. Please make sure you have read the summaries of books 13 and 14 and 15 before you start this. A lot happens in those books, but they're drawn out a little bit. So we're not going to read each of those, but make sure you know what events have happened. Otherwise, you're going to be really confused about where Odysseus is at this point. I also want you adding characters to your characterization chart, adding what information you learn about these characters. I want you looking for themes or morals. Remember, a theme is something we can understand no matter where we are in the world, like family, or being reunited with family, or, someone you love. Those are things we can understand no matter who we are, no matter what culture we're from. So I want you to look for those things and add those into your chart as well. Look for figurative language, and at this point, you're going to be doing a lot of that yourself. So make sure you're pausing on each slide and looking for those things. As dawn came into the lodge, the king and loyal swineherd set out breakfast once they had raked the fire up and got the herdsmen off with droves of pigs. And now Telemachus, the howling dogs, went nuzzling up around him, not a growl as he approached. From inside, Odysseus noticed the pack's quiet welcome, and noticed the light tread of footsteps too, and turned to Eumaeus quickly, winged a word. "Eumaeus, here comes a friend of yours, I'd say, someone you know at least. The pack's not barking, must be fawning around him. I can hear his footfall." The words were still on his lips when his own son stood in the doorway there. The swineherd started up, amazed. He dropped the bowls with a clatter. He'd been busy mixing ready wine. Straight to the prince he rushed, and kissed his face and kissed his shining eyes, both hands as the tears rolled down his cheeks. As a father brimming with love welcomes home his darling only son in a warm embrace. What pain he's borne for him, and him alone. Home now in the 10th year from far abroad. So the loyal swineherd hugged the beaming prince. He clung for dear life, covering him with kisses, yes, like one escaped from death. So there are two similes in this slide. I want you to look for both of those. And Telemachus has just returned home. The swineherd, Eumaeus, is like family. So he's excited to see Telemachus, and he's greeting him. And Odysseus is kind of standing back. He doesn't realize it's his son. Eumaeus wept and sobbed. His words flew from the heart. "You're home, Telemachus. Sweet light of my eyes, I never thought I'd see you again, once you'd shipped to Pylos. Quick, dear boy, come in. Let me look at you, look to my heart's content, under my own roof, the rover home at last. You rarely visit the farm and men these days, always keeping the town as if it cheered you, to see them there, that infernal crowd of suitors." "Have it your way," thoughtful Telemachus replied. "Dear old man, it's all for you that I've come, to see you for myself, and learn the news, whether mother still holds out in the halls, or some other man has married her at last. And Odysseus' bed, I suppose, is lying empty, blanketed now with filthy cobwebs." "Surely," the foreman of men responded. "She's still waiting there in your halls, poor woman, suffering so, her life an endless hardship, wasting away the nights, weeping the days." With that he took the bronze spear from the boy, and Telemachus, crossing the stone door-sill, went inside the lodge. There's an epithet here I want you to add. And here what has happened is Telemachus is asking about his mom. So they would have had land, and on the land, Eumaeus is who takes care of that. So whoever owns it is going to go out and visit, and they're saying that they haven't seen Telemachus in a while out there visiting and checking on things because he stays in town. And then Telemachus asks what they know about his mother. He's saying, has she married someone, or I'm guessing that she hasn't. And so Eumaeus says, no, she hasn't married anyone. She's still miserable and upset. As he approached, his father Odysseus rose to yield his seat, but the son on his part waved him back. "Stay where you are, stranger. I know we can find another seat somewhere, here on our farm, and here's the man to fetch it." So Odysseus, moving back, sat down once more, and now for the prince the swineherd strewed a bundle of fresh green brushwood, topped it off with sheepskin, and there the true son of Odysseus took his place. Eumaeus set before them platters of roast meat left from the meal he'd had the day before. He promptly served them bread heaped in baskets, mixed their hearty wine in a wooden bowl, and then sat down for himself to face the king. They reached for the good things that lay at hand, and when they'd put aside desire for food and drink, Telemachus asked his loyal serving man at last, "Old friend, where does this stranger come from? Why did the sailors land him here in Ithaca? Who did they say they are? I hardly think he came this way on foot." "You answered him, Eumaeus, loyal swineherd. Here, my boy, I'll tell you the whole true story." Alright, so in this scene, this is where Telemachus sits down. Odysseus starts to get up and give someone his place, and he says, no, let's get you a seat, we'll all sit down together, and they all start eating together. He hails from Crete's broad land, he's proud to say, but he claims he's drifted round through countless towns of men roaming the earth, so a god spun out his fate. He just now broke away from some Thesprotian ship, and came to my farm. I'll put him in your hands. You tend to him as you like. He counts on you, he says, for care and shelter. Shelter? Oh, Eumaeus, Telemachus replied. That word of yours, it cuts me to the quick. How can I lend the stranger refuge in my house? I'm young myself. I can hardly trust my hands to fight off any man who rises up against me. Then my mother's wavering, always torn two ways, whether to stay with me and care for the household, true to her husband's bed, the people's voice as well, or leave at long last with the best man in Achaia, who courts her in the halls, who offers her the most. But our new guest, since he's arrived at your house, I'll give him a shirt and cloak to wear, good clothing, give him a two-edged sword and sandals for his feet, and send him off wherever his heart desires. Or if you'd rather, keep him here at the farmstead, tend to him here, and I'll send up the clothes and full rations to keep the man in food. He'll be no drain on you and your men. But I can't let him go down and join the suitors. So Eumaeus tells Telemachus, okay, since you're in charge and you're back, this stranger here needs someone to help him out. Can you do it? And Telemachus is saying, I can't trust myself to protect him or take care of him or even defend myself. And there's all those suitors there. And I have my mother to deal with who doesn't know what she's supposed to do. Is she supposed to marry one of these suitors? Or is she supposed to stay home with me and take care of the house? She doesn't know what to do. They're far too abusive, reckless, know no limits. They'll make a mockery of him. That would break my heart. It's hard for a man to win his way against a mob, and even a man of iron. They are much too strong. So I want you to add man of iron to figurative language. It's saying that he's strong, and so it's an explanation of how strong he is, and you could put that as a metaphor. It's comparing him to iron. Friend, the long-enduring Odysseus stepped in. Surely it's right for me to say a word at this point. My heart, by God, is torn to pieces hearing this. Both of you telling how these reckless suitors, there in your own house, against your will, plot your ruin. A fine young prince like you. Tell me, though, do you let yourself be so abused, or do people round about, stirred up by the prompting of some god, despise you? Or are your brothers at fault? Brothers a man can trust to fight beside him, true, no matter what deadly blood feud rages on. Would I were young as you to match my spirit now, or were the son of great Odysseus or the king himself. Returned from all his roving, there's still room for hope. Then let some foreigner lop off my head if I failed to march right into Odysseus's royal halls and kill them all. And what if I went down crushed by their numbers, I fighting alone? I'd rather die cut down in my own house than have to look on their outrage day by day. So remember, Odysseus knows that Telemachus is his son. He realizes that's what's happening. But he hasn't told Telemachus, hey, it's me, your dad. Telemachus thinks this is just some stranger. So Odysseus is kind of asking about the situation. What's going on? Are you not able to defend it? What's happening? And he's asking, he says, I will go to your house and I will fight. And if I die fighting to help protect you, that's fine with me. Guests treated to blows, men dragging the serving women through the noble house, exploiting them all. No shame, and the gushing wine swilled, the food squandered, gorging for gorging's sakes. And the courting game goes on, no end in sight. You're right, my friend, sober Telemachus agreed. Now let me tell you the whole story first to last. It's not that all our people have turned against me, keen for a showdown, nor have I any brothers at fault. Brothers a man can trust to fight beside him, true, no matter what deadly blood feud rages on. Zeus made our line a line of only sons. Arcesius had only one son, Laertes, and Laertes had only one son, Odysseus. And I am Odysseus's only son. He fathered me, he left me behind at home, and from me he got no joy. So now our house is plagued by swarms of enemies, all the nobles who rule the islands round about, Dulichion and Same, and what is Zacynthus too, and all who lord it in rocky Ithaca as well. Down to the last man they court my mother, they lay waste my house, and mother, she neither rejects a marriage she despises, nor can she bear to bring the courting to an end, while they continue to bleed my household white. You have an epithet here I want you to add. And Telemachus is just explaining, he answers Odysseus' question about having brothers to help him. He said, I have no brothers, I'm an only son. My father was an only son, and his father was an only son. There's no one to really help me. But it's not that all of the people are bad. It's just that we have men coming from all these different places trying to get my mother to marry them. Soon, you wait. They'll grind me down as well. But all lies in the lap of the great gods. Eumaeus, good old friend, go quickly to wise Penelope. Tell her I'm home from Pylos, safe and sound. I'll stay on right here, but you come back as soon as you've told the news to her alone. No other Achaean must hear. All too many plot to take my life. I know. You assured your prince, Eumaeus, loyal swineherd. I see your point. There's no sense in this old head. One thing more, and make your orders clear. On the same trip do I go and give the news to King Laertes too? For many years, poor man, heartsick for his son, he'd always keep an eye on the farm and take his meals with the hired hands whenever he felt the urge to. Now, from the day you sailed away to Pylos, not a sip or a bite he's touched, they say, not as he did before, and his eyes are shut to all the farmyard labors. Huddled over, groaning in grief and tears, he wastes away. The man's all skin and bones. So much the worse, Telemachus answered firmly. Leave him alone, though it hurts us now, we must. So Telemachus sends Eumaeus to go tell his mother that he's home safely. He's like, I'll stay here with this stranger, but you go tell my mom I'm home. And then Eumaeus says, should I go tell your grandfather, Laertes? And he says, not yet. It makes me feel bad to say that, but let's wait on that one. Because since he's left, the Laertes has been incredibly depressed and hasn't done anything. Whereas in the past, he was super active. If men could have all they want, free for the taking, I'd take first my father's journey home. So you go and give the message, then come back. No roaming over the fields to find Laertes. Tell my mother to send her housekeeper, fast as she can, in secret, so she can give the poor old man the news. That roused Eumaeus. The swineherd grasped his sandals, strapped them onto his feet, and made for town. His exit did not escape Athena's notice. Approaching closer now, she appeared a woman, beautiful, tall, and skilled at the weaving lovely things. Just at the shelter's door she stopped, visible to Odysseus, but Telemachus could not see her, sense her there. The gods don't show themselves to every man alive. Odysseus saw her. So did the dogs. No barking now. They whimpered, cringing away in terror through the yard. She gave a sign with her brows. Odysseus caught it. Out of the lodge he went and passed the high stockade, and stood before the goddess. Athena urged him on. Royal son of Laertes, Odysseus, old campaigner, now is the time. Now tell your son the truth. Hold nothing back so the two of you can plot the suitor's doom and then set out for town. I myself won't lag behind you long. I'm blazing for a battle. So Athena gets Odysseus' attention, gets him to come outside and talk to her, and she says that he needs to go ahead and tell Telemachus who he is, and then they need to plan how to get these suitors out of their house, and she's ready to go to battle. Athena stroked him with her golden wand. First she made the cloak and shirt on his body fresh and clean, then made him taller, supple, young. His ruddy tan came back, the cut of his jawline firmed, and the dark beard clustered black round his chin. Her work complete, she went her way once more, and Odysseus returned to the lodge. His own son gazed at him, wonder-struck, terrified too, turning his eyes away suddenly. This must be some god, and he let fly with a burst of exclamation. Friends, you're a new man, not what I saw before. Your clothes, they've changed. Even your skin has changed. Surely you are some god who rules the vaulting skies. Oh, be kind, we will give you offerings, gifts of hammered gold to warm your heart. Spare us, please, I beg you. No, I'm not a god, the long-enduring great Odysseus returned. Why confuse me with one who never dies? No, I am your father, the Odysseus you wept for all your days. You bore a world of pain, the cruel abuse of men. Telemachus sees Odysseus and thinks he's a god because he's changed. Everything about him has changed now. And Odysseus says, no, I'm not a god, I'm your father. And so he is explaining that's who he is, but he looks like himself again. And with those words, Odysseus kissed his son, and the tears streamed down his cheeks and wet the ground. Though before he'd always reined his emotions back. But still not convinced that it was his father, Telemachus broke out, wild with disbelief. No, you're not Odysseus, not my father, just some spirit spellbinding me now, to make me ache with sorrow all the more. Impossible for a mortal to work such marvels, not with his own devices, not unless some god comes down in person, eager to make that mortal young or old like that. Why, just now you were old and wrapped in rags, but now look, you seem like a god who rules the skies up there. Telemachus, Odysseus, man of exploits, urged his son, it's wrong to marvel, carried away in wonder so at the sight of your father here before your eyes. No other Odysseus will ever return to you. That man and I are one, the man you see here after many hardships, endless wanderings, after 20 years. I have come home to native ground at last. My changing so? Athena's work, the fighter's queen. She has that power. She makes me look as she likes, now like a beggar, the next moment a young man, decked out in handsome clothes about my body. So I want you to add the simile, find the simile in this slide and add it. Telemachus does not believe that this is Odysseus. He's like, there's no way unless a god is helping you. And Odysseus says, no, it's me. I'm back after all I've been through, and it's Athena who's changed me to look like this. It's light work for the gods who rule the skies to exalt a mortal man or bring him low. At that Odysseus sat down again, and Telemachus threw his arms around his great father, sobbing uncontrollably as the deep desire for tears welled up in both. They cried out shrilling cries, pulsing sharper than birds of prey, eagles, vultures with hooked claws. When farmers plunder their nests of young, too young to fly. Both men, so filled with compassion, eyes streaming tears, that now the sunlight would have set upon their cries, if Telemachus had not asked his father all at once, what sort of ship, dear father, brought you here? Ithaca at last. Who did the sailors say they are? I hardly think that you came back home on foot. So long in exile, great Odysseus replied. Surely, my son, I'll tell you the whole story now. Phaeacians brought me here, the famous sailors who ferry home all men who reach their shores. They sailed me across the sea in their swift ship. They set me down in Ithaca, sound asleep, and gave me glittering gifts, bronze and hoards of golden robes. All while I stood in a cave, thanks to the gods' help, and Athena's inspiration spurred me here now, so we could plan the slaughter of our foes. Odysseus has come home. He explains how he got there, and they have gifts, and now they need to plan how to get rid of their foes, which are enemies. Come, give me the full tally of these suitors. I must see their numbers, gauge their strength. Then I'll deploy this old tactician's wits, and decide if the two of us can take them on alone without allies, or we should hunt reserves to back us up. Father, clear-headed Telemachus countered quickly, all my life I have heard of your great fame, a brave man in war and a deep mind in council, but what you say dumbfounds me, staggers imagination. How on earth could two men fight so many and so strong? These suitors are not just 10 or 20, they're far more. You count them up for yourself now, take a moment. From Dulichion, 52 of them, picked young men, 6 servants in their troop. From Same, 24. From Zacynthus, 20 Achaeans, nobles all, and the 12 best lords from Ithaca itself. Medon, the heralds with them, a gifted bard, and 2 henchmen skilled to carve their meat. If we put ourselves against all of these in the house, I fear the revenge you come back home to take will recoil on our heads. A bitter, deadly blow. Think, can you come up with a friend in arms, some man to fight beside us, some brave heart? Odysseus is ready to go into the house, and he's ready to get rid of them all, kill them all. And Telemachus is saying, you're crazy, because if you try to fight them, no, there's too many. And he starts listing how many there are. And there are over 75 suitors. And he's saying, there's no way we can fight them ourselves. We have to find someone to help us, some friends. Let me tell you, the old soldier said. Bear it in mind now. Listen to me closely. Think, will Athena, flanked by Father Zeus, do for the two of us? Or shall I rack my brains for another champion? Telemachus answered shrewdly, full of poise. 2 great champions, those you name, it's true. Off in the clouds they sit, and they lord it over gods and mortal men. Trust me, his seasoned father reassured him. They won't hold off long from the cries and clash of battle, not when we and the suitors put our fighting strength to proof in my own halls. But now with daybreak home, you go and mix that overbearing crowd. The swineherd will lead me into the city later, looking old and broken, a beggar once again. If they abuse me in the palace, steel yourself. No matter what outrage I must suffer, even if they drag me through our house by the heels and throw me out or pelt me with things that hurl, you just look on, endure it. Prompt them to quit their wild, reckless ways. Try to win them over with friendly words. These men will never listen. Now the day of doom is hovering up their heads. One more thing. Take it to heart, I urge you. Odysseus is saying that he's going to send Telemachus on home. Go ahead and go just stay at the house with the suitors. And Odysseus says that he's going to disguise himself as a beggar again and come into the house. And he said, don't reveal our plan. Even if the suitors call me names, make fun of me, don't let it show. Just pretend like you don't see what's happening. When Athena, queen of tactics, tells me it's time, I'll give you a nod. And when you catch that signal, round up all the deadly weapons kept in the hall. Stow them away upstairs in the storeroom's deep recess, all the arms and armor. And when the suitors miss them and ask you questions, put them off with a winning story. I stowed them away clear of the smoke, a far cry from the arms Odysseus left when he went to Troy, fire-damaged equipment black with reeking flames. And a god reminded me of something darker, too. When you're in your cups, a quarrel might break out. You'd wound each other, shame your feasting here, and cast a pall upon your courting. Iron has powers to draw a man to ruin. Just you leave a pair of swords for the two of us, a pair of spears and a pair of ox-hide bucklers right at hand, so we can break for the weapons, seize them. Then Athena, Zeus in his wisdom, they will daze the suitors' wits. Now one last thing bear it in mind. You must. If you are my own true son, born of my blood, let no one hear that Odysseus has come home. Don't let Laertes know. Not Eumaeus either. None in the household, not Penelope herself. So Odysseus is saying that they're going to have a plan, hide all the weapons of the men. And if they complain about it, just be like, well, I knew you were going to be drinking. I didn't want you all to get hurt each other, so I just went ahead and put them away. But hide a couple of swords and a couple of spears so that when the battle starts, Odysseus and Telemachus have weapons. You and I alone will assess the woman's mood, and we might test a few of the serving men as well. Where are the ones who still respect us both, who hold us in awe, and who shirk their duties, citing you because you are so young? Soon enough, father, his gallant son replied. You'll sense the courage inside me that I know. I'm hardly a flighty, weak-willed boy these days, but I think your last plan would gain us nothing. Reconsider, I urge you. You'll waste time roaming around our holdings, probing the field hands man by man, while the suitors sit at ease in our house, devouring all our goods. These brazen rascals never spare a scrap, but I do advise you to sound the women out, who are disloyal to you, who are guiltless. The men, I say, no to testing them farm by farm. That's work for later. If you have really seen a sign from Zeus, whose shield is storm and thunder. Now as father and son conspired, shaping plans, the ship that brought the prince and shipmates back from Pylos was just approaching Ithaca, home port. So I want you to make sure you have down the events of this chapter, and I also want you to write down the theme of being reunited. And I want you to explain how this happens, and it's something we can connect to as humans. You may never have been reunited with someone, but you can imagine what it would be like for someone else to be reunited. So I want you to write about that in your theme. I want you to explain how you can connect to that. As soon as they put into the harbor's deep bay, they hauled the black vessel up onto their dry land, and eager deckhands bore away their gear, and rushed the priceless gifts to Clytius's house. But they sent a herald on to Odysseus' halls at once, to give the news to thoughtful, cautious Penelope that Telemachus was home, just up country now, that he'd told his mates to sail across to port, so the noble queen would not be seized with fright and break down in tears. And now those two men met, herald and swineherd, both out on the same errand, to give the queen the news. But once they reached the house of the royal king, the herald strode up into the serving woman's midst, and burst out, Your beloved son, my queen, is home at last. Eumaeus, though, bending close to Penelope, whispered every word that her dear son entrusted him to say. Message told him full. He left the halls and precincts, heading for his pigs. But the news shook the suitors, dashed their spirits. Out of the halls they crowded, past the high-walled court, and there before the gates they sat in council. Polybus' son, Eurymachus, opened up among them. Friends, what a fine piece of work he's carried off. Telemachus, what insolence! When we thought his little jaunt would come to grief. Up now, launch a black ship, the best we can find. Muster a crew of oarsmen. Roll the news to our friend in ambush fast, and bring them back at once. And just then, he'd not quite finished when Amphimonus, wheeling around in his seat, saw their vessel moored in the deep harbor, their comrades striking sail and hoisting oars. He broke into he laughed, called his friends. No need for a message now. They're home, look there. Some god gave them the news, or they saw the prince's ship go sailing past and failed to overtake her. Rising, all trooped down to the water's edge as the crew hauled the vessel up onto dry land, and the hot-blooded hands bore off their gear. So the men are upset because they wanted Telemachus dead, and they're upset that he made it home, and he's not dead yet. Then in a pack they went to the meeting grounds, suffering no one else, young or old, to sit among them. Eupithes' son, Antinous, rose and harangued them all. What a blow! See how the gods have saved this boy from bloody death? And our lookouts all day long, stationed atop the windy heights, kept watch, shift on shift, and once the sun went down, we'd never sleep the night ashore. Never, always aboard our swift ship, cruising till dawn, patrolling to catch Telemachus, kill him on the spot, and all the while some spirit whisked him home. So here at home we'll plot his certain death. He must never slip through our hands again, that boy, while he still lives. I swear we'll never bring our venture off. The clever little schemer, he does have his skills, and the crowds no longer show us favor, not at all. So act before he can gather his people in assembly. He'll never give in an inch. I know he'll rise and rage away, shouting out to them all how we schemed his sudden death, but never caught him. Hearing of our foul play, they'll hardly sing our praises. While they might do us damage, run us off our lands, drive us abroad to hunt for strangers' shores. Strike first, I say, and kill him. Clear of town in the field or on the road, then we'll seize his estates and worldly goods, carve them up between us, share and share alike. But as for his palace, let his mother keep it, she and the man she weds. So their plan is, all the suitors are planning on killing Telemachus. They were planning on killing him before he got back, but his ship kind of snuck in. So they didn't see it coming in, so they weren't able to kill him. They want to kill him because they don't want to look bad anymore. So they're saying, let's kill him. We'll divide up all of his land, all of the stuff he has, and then whoever marries his mom can keep the palace. Because as long as he's alive, Telemachus is going to make us look like the bad guys, and we can't have that. So Amphimonius urged and won them over. They rose at once, returned to Odysseus' palace, entered and took their seats on burnished chairs. But now an inspiration took the discreet Penelope to face her suitors, brutal, reckless men. The queen had heard it all, how they plotted inside the house to kill her son. The herald Medon told her he'd overheard their schemes, and so, flanked by her ladies, she descended to the hall. That luster of women, once she reached her suitors, drawing her glistening veil across her cheeks, paused now where a column propped against the sturdy roof, and wheeling on Antinous, cried out against him, "You, Antinous, violent, vicious, scheming, you, they say, are the best man your age in Ithaca, best for eloquence, counsel. You're nothing of the sort. Madman, why do you weave destruction for Telemachus? Show no pity to those who need it, those over whom almighty Zeus stands guard. It's wrong, unholy, yes, weaving death for those who deserve your mercy. Don't you know how your father fled here once, a fugitive, terrified of the people up in arms, against him because he'd joined some Taphian pirates out to attack Thesprotians, sworn allies of ours." So Penelope comes downstairs and she's upset because she finds out they're wanting to kill Telemachus. There is an epithet in this slide. I want you to find it, add it to your notes under figurative language. And this is an important something we find out. We find out here that Antinous' father originally came to Ithaca for safety. He had joined this band of pirates and was in trouble, so he came there to hide. The mobs were set to destroy him, rip his life out, devour his vast wealth to their heart's content. But Odysseus held them back. He kept their fury down. And this is the man whose house you waste, scot-free, whose wife you court, whose son you mean to kill. You make my life an agony. Stop, I tell you, stop all this, and make the rest stop too. I want you to look here too at Penelope and how strong of a woman she is. And this needs to go under your themes for strong women. This is something we see a lot. She is standing up for herself and her son. She's saying, look at all we've done for you. Odysseus saved your family, and look how you're treating him and his family now. It's wrong. But Polybus' son Eurymachus tried to calm her. Wise Penelope, daughter of Icarius, courage! Disabuse yourself of all these worries now. That man is not alive. He never will be. He never can be born. Who will lift a hand against Telemachus, your son? Not while I walk the land and I can see the light. I tell you this, so help me, it will all come true in an instant. That man's blood will spurt around my spear. My spear, since time and again Odysseus dandled me on his knees. The great raider of the cities fed me, roasted meat, and held the red wine to my lips. So to me, your son is the dearest man alive, and I urge the boy to have no fear of death, not from the suitors at least. What comes from the gods, there's no escaping that. So Eurymachus is trying to calm Penelope down and saying, well, I'll take care of it. No one will kill him. If they try to attack Telemachus, I'll take them out. Don't worry. I won't let anybody hurt him. Encouraging all the way, but all the while plotting the prince's murder in his mind. So Eurymachus is saying all these things that he's going to protect Telemachus, but really he's still planning on killing him as well. He's like, oh, it's okay, lady. It'll be fine. And trying to calm her down. The queen, going up to her lofty, well-lit room, fell to weeping for Odysseus, her beloved husband, till watchful Athena sealed her eyes with welcome sleep. Returning just at dusk to Odysseus and his son, the loyal swineherd found they'd killed a yearling pig, and standing over it now were busy fixing supper. But Athena had approached Laertes' son Odysseus, tapped him with her wand, and made him old again. She dressed him in filthy rags too, for fear Eumaeus, recognizing his master face to face, might hurry back to shrewd Penelope, blurting out the news and never hide the secret in his heart. So they're trying to keep it quiet that Odysseus is home. The only person who knows that Odysseus is there is Telemachus. Eumaeus thinks that Odysseus is a beggar who needs help, so he's been trying to help him, but doesn't yet realize that Odysseus is himself. So Athena disguised Odysseus as a beggar again. Telemachus was the first to greet the swineherd. Welcome home, my friend. What's the talk in town? Are the swaggering suitors back from ambush yet, or still waiting to catch me coming home? So Telemachus knows their plan is to kill him. You answered the prince, Eumaeus, little swineherd. I had no time to go roaming all through town, digging round for that. My heart raced me on to get my message told and rush back here, but I met up with a fast runner there, sent by your crew, a herald first, to tell your mother the news. And this I know, I saw with my own eyes. I was just above the city, heading home,
clambering over Hermes Ridge when I caught sight of a trim ship pulling into the harbor, loaded down with a crowd aboard her. Shields and two-edged spears. I think they're the men you're after. I'm not sure. At that the young prince Telemachus smiled, glancing toward his father, avoiding Eumaeus' eyes. And now with the roasting done, the meal set out. They ate well, and no one's hunger lacked a proper share of supper. When they pushed aside desire for food and drink, they remembered bed and took the gift of sleep. So Eumaeus saw a bunch of men getting off, getting a bunch of shields and spears and swords off the ship. So he said, I think these are the guys you're looking for. So I want to make sure you write all of these events down in this passage. These are really important events. And make sure you include all your characters, and feel free to go back and double check anything you missed. Make sure you have the theme of being reunited and the theme of a strong woman. Those are both important. Make sure you include both of those themes. Make sure you have figurative language. You should have notes for all 4 categories from this book.